Hey there, boys and girls of the YouTube world. Today the Duff Dog and I are going to see if we can't get a 1956 Chevrolet back on the road for the first time in 50 years. Plus or minus 10. Cut back to when we picked this thing up. It was a barn find, shed find, garage find. We found it inside and it was much warmer. And while you guys are watching that, I'm gonna get my shovel out and see if we can't find a spot to hook onto this thing. And then once we get it unshoveled, we're gonna go see if Bernie will fire up, because it's super nice out here. I can see why people like to reside in Arizona and New Mexico and Tejas and such. See you back in a bit. Enjoy the warmth. I wish it was August. So tell us about the 56. Your dad bought it brand new? Yep. What, do you know the dealership he bought it at?
Up in Crosby, North Dakota.
Okay. Right. How do you get a 56 gas tank? I'll let you break it.
I think it's going to need some smoke fish for hunt.
Yeah. Anyway, the filler neck's behind the taillight on the driver's side.
Drives down.
Last tagged in 70?
This is, I tried sticking a screwdriver in there, but I wasn't going to jam it so hard to break it. I scraped some stuff in there, but it's full of moss.
There might be a body in there?
Most body, unless somebody else put another body in there.
And this is a 265 3-speed overdrive car?
Yep.
Who put the portholes in the fender?
I did.
That was you.
I figured it needed to look different than everybody else.
Yeah.
They were at an auction sale. I think I paid 50 cents for them.
Like oh, he didn't get them from J.C. Whitney then. No. You got them second hand.
I got them second hand. I had fender strips on it too. The got rid of them.
They've disappeared. Yeah, Duff put the wheels on it. Crazy how good those doors still shut. Oh, it's crazy. And you said this sat in a field for...
Well, you can see that there's been water in here.
Oh man, it was deep in the water.
Pretty high. That's why it said that I don't say a word about a drivetrain. It's probably all total junk because of the moisture.
Right. Well, the mice been in the headliner, of course.
Yeah, they've been in the seats. For a while, they had it sitting next to a drain because there was nothing but a mouse trap.
Oh.
Did this car ever sit outside here? Outside this building?
It did. It wasn't for very long.
Okay. I just remember there's a 56 four-door.
Wow, that's been... And you said it rolled in. The wheels will still turn?
Yep.
That's crazy, as deep as the water was.
One tire was skidding for a ways while we pulled it to back to the yard. But it let go and move. That's why I say that the underpans, I can't tell you how good, if they're good or bad.
But yeah, the doors and the rockers and the dog legs on the fenders, everything looks pretty good.
Oh, co-op battery.
Mice even made a nest on that. Flexi hoses ×2. Does the fan turn? Oh yeah, water pump's good. Plugs are out, so somebody might have soaked it down a bit. Yeah, it's crazy how big of a air cleaner they put on these tiny little 265s, and they've got an air cleaner that looks like it could be on a 855 Cummins.
If I remember right, when I drove this thing back and forth going to college, I went to Wahpeton.
Crosby to Wahpeton, that was...
It's about a 400-mile drive.
I was going to say, that's about as far as you can get in corner to corner.
And if I remember right, I think we run between 20 and 22 miles to the gallon.
How much was gas then?
Probably 25 cents.
So these are a GM accessory?
Yeah, bumper guards or bumperettes.
Yeah, they bent the bumper up pretty good because they hooked the chain on and just yanked it. So that's got to be tweaked on.
Paint's pretty baked off on the hood, but the rest is all... Can't believe there's no rust above the eyebrows. Usually that's where all the dirt kind of sits, especially on the 55s.
Well, the other one, this has been undercoated with tar. So I've had spots where I've got down underneath there and I flipped the tar off and figured it should be rotten as heck behind that tar, but it's clean, pure metal behind that, wherever there's
Wow.
tar undercoating on it.
Must have been a factory. Your dad paid the extra
The dealer did it.
$40 and they
Yeah,
undercoated it for him.
But everybody undercoated them because of the rocks. Gravel roads, that's all we ever had up there.
Yeah.
So I'm saying this car is worth more from the body than it is from the drivetrain. Or if you can find one that's got a good drivetrain and screw up body, then I'd probably marry it off and make something halfway through.
Yeah. We could put an Astrovan 4.3 in it.
Yep, there's one right there.
Be the second Astrovan I bought with this guy.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, let's see if Bernie's gonna start here, or the white hooker. I think we're going with Bernie. It's 5 degrees out, and we got a pretty stiff north breeze, but that doesn't matter. The old 390's gonna light right off, right, Duff? You can tell it's been sitting outside by the way it is.
This is pure snow! It's everywhere! Have you any idea what the street value of this mountain is?
Oh, look, we got license plates. Bernie was taken, but Tomater wasn't. Oh, you're coming with? Sounds good. You want to put those plates on quick? That'd be great. All right, let's see if this thing cranks up. I got an electric choke on the replacement carburetor. Let's turn the fan off. Ooh, that fan is angry. Oh, she's gonna go, ain't she? No problem for the Burnmeister. I like Bernie because somebody said you should name it Bernie because it's always dragging dead bodies around. Car bodies, you know. I'm not helping anybody hide any bodies. Quit. Look at this. We got the old. Look at this. We got the old whatever registration holder. Bernie's Body and Glass. And then it shows all the counties in South Dakota for 1976. What a deal. Oh, it's a scraper too, after your next scrape. See, look at that. She's a scraper, and it's got a little hint about the body shop. What a deal. They need to make cool stuff like that. Who changes the oil? Mark's Auto. Watertown, South Dakota. 2012. And it had 31,200. It's got 31,400. So in the last 12 and a half years, it's got 274 miles. And we put 100 on it driving it home. So yeah, and I bet I put 100 around here. So I bet this thing didn't have 50 miles on it in the last 10 and a half years. That's awesome. We don't have hurricanes, and we don't have snakes. We got Duff, though. There's a lot of poop under there. Rabbit poop and other kind of poop. It's froze, though, so Duff's not going to be real excited about it. So I learned some pointers from all you faithful viewers. And I think we're gonna try to do this right. So we gotta drop this. I forget what it's called. I remembered a couple minutes ago. Rubber dealio down, and we back up to the bumper. And then we hook these J hooks underneath the car. And we hook them to this guys, and then we go away. And if it doesn't go away, we put these things underneath the wheel chocks, and then we hook them to there. So as it pulls it back, you get more traction or something. I don't know. Let's try this. Bernie. should have left it running. It's so cold. Drop this guy. Here we go. You can tell how cold it is by how stiff your rubber is. Well, I'm gonna fire it up. I'm gonna drop that down about as low as we go. Just gonna check out the bumper on the car. And that going down. Bernie didn't have a backup camera in 1974. We hook that down there. Throw the excess up here. Same on the other side. And then we raise her up and see what happens. Something's happening. Oh, lever stuck, and that side didn't stay hooked. Well, we clearly have no idea what we're doing, and I think we messed up that bumper. Oh, because that came unhooked. Let's try this again. I can see the hate comments from the 56 Chevy and tow truck purists already. You're doing it wrong, you ruined that car. Sorry guys, that's how I learned, by making mistakes. So by now I should be one smart SOB. Write that down, we should make a shirt out of that. All right, try number 2. Don't try this at home, kids. I feel like that chain should be tight. Well, let's see what happens. Remember kids, don't try this at home. Safety third. Oh, now the sun decides to come out. Bernie is a champ. Back tire's flat on the 56, not even turning. Well, Bernie didn't even grunt a bit. Maybe we got a little bit high. The back bumper's dragging. It'll be fine. Let's get some of that snow off of there. Good news is the car isn't full of snow, hopefully, like the old 61 Belair was when we drug that in the other day. All right, yeah, I need to work on my tow truck skills. Definitely don't go underneath it though. Okay, that's my workout for the day. Good news is all of the snow was on top of the car, you know. Hey, stay out from underneath there. No deaths on the channel. That's hoods and no deaths. That's what we're going for in 2023. And maybe more working out. Okay, you follow me. The old 5.6 all thawed out here. I'm guessing these are Snooch Rocket mud donut marks all over. Hopefully those cracks in the windshield were there before. Clearly that one was anyway. But let's get this thing all washed up, you know, get the barn dust off of it. And then I'll give you a little bit better walk around of the thing. And maybe we'll put some wind in that tire. Put a tube in it so we don't have to pump it up anymore. That seems like a good idea. A Duffer. Yeah. I think this thing's gonna clean up pretty good. Paint seems all pretty good, except for I don't know why it's really flaked off the front of the hood. I don't know if she's been repainted there, or the hood has, or they had something going on there. How's it look underneath? Do we tweak the bumper brackets or just the bumper? Yeah, we'll have to fix that. Insert montage of Crazy Okie in bibs or no shirt, or bibs with no shirt, washing his whatever it is he does. He's a silly character.
Oh, yeah.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Everybody's always like, "Duh, I don't know why you don't pressure wash underneath the hood before you work on the thing." It's like, well, because I don't like a wet hood dripping on my head and the points get wet and the Mortske flick doesn't work as efficiently, and I don't know, like likes to be dry under there. But since we got it parked by the pressure washer here and it's probably dirty under there, we'll get the right-hand man to open the hood, and not Mojo, the thumbless bandit. Oh, yeah, you. Want to open that hood for me, pal? Duff. Hoods? You ain't opened one in weeks. All right, thank you, sir. It's definitely right in there. You're a good kid, Pupper Duffs. Looks like we got ourselves a small block Chevrolet V8. Factory would have been a 265. Oh boy. I didn't want to do the inspection until after we get her washed up, but we're probably going to need these spark plugs that are laying up here. And that doesn't look good. So straight 44s. And a co-op battery. I think this is the first year of 12 volt for Chevrolet. I can't see if it's loose by the fan blade because there's no belt on it. All right, that's good suggestion on cleaning underneath here. It's pretty ugly. I think I'm gonna get a hood prop to hold this open a little bit higher. Well, son of a biscuit with a little assistance. That thing goes pert near vertical. That's like swept line Dodge-esque. All right, let's do a little washing. Ugh, she's not good under there. Well, Duff likes it because it's full of fecal matter. All right, we got her all washed underneath there. It really wasn't that dirty. I mean, there was some grime on top of the intake from, you know, the rodents and the fecal matters of said rodents, and a little mouse house going on top of the old co-op battery. But other than that, a little grime on the steering box. Not too bad. Let's pop that wheel and tire off, get a tube in that, so we never have to deal with that again while this thing drip dries, and then we'll give you a little tour of the said 56. How about that?
Catch me outside, how about that?
So we got the old TL 56 all drip dried. Let's take a look at this thing. I'll give you a little back history on this. So how I found this car, a lot of people ask how I find these cars. The owner of this car was friends with a guy who owned or bought the salvage yard that we toured in the snow a while back with Kool-Aid Man and the Mopar Madman. And that guy, this guy was looking to get rid of it. That guy got a hold of me and said, "Hey, are you interested in this 56 Chevy?" And I said, "Yeah." So it's good to network. It's good to know people. It's good to talk to people. You don't find all your cars just sitting on the john, scrolling through the Facebook marketplace. Get out there, go check out junkyards, talk to the people who own this stuff, talk to the people who has a car like the car you like. That guy might know a guy who's got a car like it. That's a project that's for sale, yada, yada, yada. Anyway, the gentleman I got this from, his dad bought this car brand new. They used it on the farm, ran through him, ran through his brothers. It sat on the farm. I don't know if they sold the farm or got off the farm, but anyway, he ended up with this car. Brought it home, or his original farm, and where we found this car were several hours apart, and this car was just sitting in his barn. He's retirement age, sold the building, said, "I'm never gonna get to that car." He says, "I got one car that I'm gonna fix up, and it's not gonna be this car." So are you interested? Of course, 56 Chevy, barn find. Of course we're interested. So that's how we got the car. I believe this car is a 210 model. There was the Belair, there's the 210, and then there's the 150, which is kind of like the stripper model. And I think the amount of chrome on this one is a 210, and there's no Belair emblems on it, so I believe it's mid-range. So let's take a look at this thing. All right, last tagged in 70, so this thing has been off the road for 53 years. It looks like there was some bumper guards here. I think all these cars had them. Those are MIA. I'm guessing it's been in a front end collision because it looks like there's a little bit of filler flaking up there. I'm not sure what's going on with the 14 gauge wire all just hanging up here. We might find out. Maybe somebody had a fancy horn on it. Ooh, or maybe they had some sweet lights on here. We may never know. We'll get to the hood after a second here. These cars are notorious for rusting out in the eyebrows. Little dinger there, but pretty good. I think these are a factory accessory or a dealer add-on accessory, these bumper guards. I don't know much about them, but it looks way too heavy duty to be a J.C. Whitney or aftermarket deal. I believe that is a factory wheel. Should be a 15-inch if it's a factory 56. Yep, that's a 15-inch factory 4 3/4 bolt pattern wheel in the body color that this is. Two-tone cars will have this paint divider right here. These are like a J.C. Whitney add-on aftermarket, or Sears and Roebuck, whoever, what have you. They're kind of like the Buick Roadmaster portholes, or all the Buicks had them. Looks like the rear view mirror is MIA. The glass has got a lot of chips in it. I probably added a couple of those with the old snitch rocket doing donuts. Looks like somebody maybe jumped on the roof once and they knocked it back out. You can see there's kind of a little ridge right there. Somebody bunged her up a bit. This door is kind of pushed in a bit, but that's a pretty light dent. I think we can do the old put a pry bar in there and pop it out, or worst case get a football or a basketball deflated in there and pump her up. Super solid though. Like, there's a lot of surface rust on the bottom end. You know, this is a farm car, so they probably drove just as much gravel as they did highway back then. So a lot of rock chips, but maybe we can do the old Freiberger. What does he use? Not Barkeeper's Friend. What's he? The Comet. The old Comet car wash. That'll take a lot of that rust away, but it's also not good for bright paint, which this is not. We'll have to look, see what this turquoise is called. The quarter's kind of torn out right where Duff's showing us. This wheel is like a 61 two wheel. It's got this deep dish right here, so you got to mount them from the backside. I didn't show doing that because I screwed it up. But anyway, you got to dismount and mount that tire from the backside when you get it on the tire machine. And that is a 14-inch back there. I think if this was a Belair, there would be a Belair emblem back here where that is. Your worthless information of the day: 56s had their fuel filler back here. See if we can get it open. Oh yeah, there you go. How neat is that?
How neat is that?
Something some of you younger folks may not know. We did pinch the old tailpipe close when we were dragging her in. I'm guessing that tire being flat, as high as we had it, didn't help. Backup lights busted out. Oh, maybe that, when we fire it up, maybe the mice will get trapped in there and we'll cook them out. Or maybe it'll sound like really awesome, like Rub Bub.
Well, you want to woo-woo? It's that woo-woo.
I don't know if we got the trunk open yet or not, but somebody's been in there, knocked out the lock cylinder. That bumper has been drugged a few times. Maybe it was just us. I don't know. Taillight's got a little hole in it. The deck lid's really nice, so otherwise. Actually, this whole car is actually really good. A lot of surface rust, and it's not even that bad. Again, another 14-inch deep wheel back there. I think those are like I said, 61, 62 wheels. Looks like must be some lead down there. I don't know if that's original or somebody did a little work there, but I'm guessing there's a seam for the rocker and the quarter panel right there. All the bright work is on it. I did blast off the little vent thing right there. Not a huge fan of those, but they're on there, so we'll leave them. Looks like the one on the other side's missing a few pieces. Overall, pretty good car. Must have a radio, clearly. Let's check the inside out. It looks like the gas pedal's over here. Came with an extra set of valve cover gaskets from the old Napa. What a deal. Well, it's a dual bolt pattern, so it fits all of the Chevys. It is a factory radio. Oh, she's got the clip-on visor holder. Oh, look at that mirror that's got the service record, battery oil, grease. The mice have inhabited the ceiling in many locations. It is ripe in here. Hoofda. Looks like the factory seat covering up front, little chewy. Oh, somebody even put add-on seat belts. What a deal, Duff. I don't believe those were factory GM options. Maybe they were, but those are not. Back seat has had a cover on it at one point. Is this the shelf that goes in the rear deck there? Oh, a Busch Light. That looks pretty fresh. That might have been from when we picked it up. Such good help that we have. I'm guessing they got the back seat out trying to get into the trunk. Anything good back there? A hubcap and a tire. He did say that this car kind of was parked in a low spot when they drove it to where it was parked. And he said the water, oh yeah, you can see the water line right there. You can see how high the water was right here. So he said, I wouldn't bet that the drive line is any good. He thinks water got in the transmission and the engine. So maybe he tried to start it, had the plugs out. We're gonna find out though. How many miles are on this thing? He made it sound like they drove the ever-living snot out of this thing in every car on the farm, so she's probably got a few miles on her. Looks like 21,000, so she's probably got 121. Keys are in the ignition, so that's convenient. What do you think, Duff? It's ripe in there. Hoofda. It's probably why we waited till winter. This thing was probably super ripe in the dead of summer. Hey, extra valve cover? You know, why not? That might not be so good. Maybe somebody's already been in there. Maybe they had some stuck valves. I don't know why they had valve cover gaskets. Maybe he was gonna pull the heads off. It's a 3-speed car. I don't think it's an overdrive car, but maybe it is. There's that kickdown. Is that a kickdown switch? Is she an overdrive, Duff? Shouldn't there be a lever under the dash? That's for the park brake. That's the choke somebody added on. That's the vent. Oh, there it is. The overdrive bypass or disengage. With that pulled out, it would not go in overdrive. So it's kind of like a tow haul in your late models. Oh, I forgot 56 has got the glove box in the center. GM did that for a while. Strange. So, she's an overdrive car. That's pretty neat.
That's pretty neat.
So hopefully we can salvage that overdrive. Because we got tons of small blocks around if this one isn't salvageable. Because this car definitely deserves to be back on the road. Yeah, this car is good. I'm guessing the speaker probably sat behind that. Probably wasn't one in the back. Oh, there is the front rear both speaker switch, so there must have been one in the back. What is all that wiring wrapped up right there? That servant, was that the cruise control? Put that on the gas pedal? I don't know. How did the gas pedal end up over here? We may never know. Anything in the glove box? 12 gauge? Sure enough. Ooh, it's an old paper one. The mice ate her open. Oh, she has been fired. Huh, I've never found a paper shotgun shell. All right, let's go check out what's going on underneath the hood. Like I said, she is a 265, which I think this was the last year of, well, you could get a 265, I believe, in 57, but then the 283s come out. Dual flexi hoses, what a deal. And then look at this. Flexi spark plug wires. If only this thing had flexi exhaust, it would have the flexi trifecta. It's got the old co-op type CX24F battery. I'm guessing that's from 1970 or so. Oil bath air cleaner, Rochester 2GC. You could get these with a 4-barrel. That would be the power pack option, as known by the power pack heads. I don't know what they got going on up here. You could have a party in front of the radiator in these cars. I think 6-cylinders had the radiator in front of the shroud or the core support. V8 cars behind. But yeah, there's all kinds of room for, you know, throwing your child or a 6-pack or your bowling balls, your golf bag, whatever. No power steering, no power brakes. Still got the generator, voltage regulator. I think this is where the relay would sit for the overdrive setup. Somebody must have robbed that. There's your kick down switch for your overdrive. When you would mash this down, this super, oh no, it's still free. When you mash that down and it hit that, it would kick it out of overdrive and put it into passing gear. The old oil bath air cleaner is laying loose, so somebody's been in here. Good news is we got room to set her down there. Looks like somebody was starting to take the upper radiator hose off, and they unhooked the throttle linkage for some reason. It's gonna have a points ignition. These early cast iron distributors, a lot of the later, or all of the later ones were aluminum. These early ones were cast iron. Good, bad, or otherwise, I don't know. These are specific Tri-5, 55 to 57 is what the Tri-5s are if you weren't familiar. I'm sure you are though, by watching this channel by now. It's got the log style manifolds that were associated with these cars. Being a farm car, of course, you know, the tractor quit running, so they stole the coil off it, I'm sure, and I bet it didn't fix the tractor, but they never remembered to bring said coil back, unfortunately. All right, let's get our battery and see if we can get this thing fired up. This is definitely not a factory inline fuels holder, so who knows what that's all about. And no, before you comment, we're not going to DD hack shop this thing and convert it to a two-door. All right, Miles at AW, who works with all of our battery sponsors, he says, you don't need one of the battery carriers, just grab a 3/4 wrench. I do it all the time, so we'll see if it works. Sure enough, lift it right out of there with that until you drop it on your toe. All right, that right there is handy. Just get yourself a 3/4 inch wrench, hook it on the end of your battery post. I wouldn't say it's good for it, but it works. Thanks for the tip, Miles. Oh, we should have definitely taken that out of there before we pressure washed it, because who wouldn't have thought that fecal matter would be behind the battery box and in the battery box. Yay!
Yay!
Ew! Alright, looks like Nick is our battery sponsor this week. Nick didn't have a good nickname, nor gave me much information to give him a nickname, so it's just Nick. Knick-knack paddywhack. Little Nicky.
Okay, mercy. You win. I give. Game over.
Alright, we're gonna have to put a new ground on here because the other one was going just to the body, and we can't just have that. We gotta go to the engine. Plus it was stuck on the battery. We'll go round up a new one. Oh, man. Here we go, the loser switch is hooked up. Let's see if she turns. I did jump in and grab the shifter and it's in neutral, which is good, right? Transmission goes up and down, or the linkage goes up and down, but it does not shift up or down. So I think the transmission is seized, which makes sense since it sat into water, you know, above the, basically over the transmission. All right, here we go. Here goes nothing. I'm saying there's about a 12% chance it turns over, and not even a click. Oh, we're gonna have to tear apart a starter. All right, we wiggled a few connections. Let's give her a whirl, see what happens. Still nothing. Fantastic, and I'm guessing that starter is an oddball that we don't have one on the shelf. Great. That's what I wanted to do this week. Tear apart a starter. Got the old battery cable off. Let's spin this new one on here and see if that makes a difference. Otherwise, I think we're to the point where we're gonna have to pull that starter off, unfortunately. Gosh, I really love working on starters. Also, make sure you unhook one of the battery cables before you do this. Otherwise, you get a little surprise, and it's hard on your wrench and or ratchet. Don't ask me how I know. Alrighty, let's give her a whirl again. Still nothing. Yep, we're gonna be taking the starter off. I'm guessing she's pretty rusty inside of the solenoid. I'm gonna go have a sandwich. All right, if you know from the 54 Mercury that we were working on, working over the floor drain is not a good idea. And I'm too lazy to just put something over the floor drain. And I'm also too lazy to work on my back. So I jacked it up in the air because it seems like somehow the shifter got stuck in gear. Or anyway, the back tires do not want to turn, and I swear they rolled when we brought this car home. So I played with the shifter. Doesn't seem like it's doing it there. I went underneath to, don't worry, there's jack stands under there. And I found something interesting. Let me show you. So I've looked at a fair amount of small block oil pans, and although this is an early one, it seems like it's awful swollen. Like a lot of water got in there and then froze. So that's not good, but it gets better. There should be an oil filter canister there, or the housing, or at least the mount that mounts it, and that's not there. And I don't know why in the world anybody would take that off, but it's gone. So we gotta get this thing on the hoist and figure out the starter and probably drop this oil pan and see what the bottom end looks like, or at least drop the contents of the oil pan, because I'm thinking if there's not water in there now, there was. And I've never seen an oil pan swell up like that. It should be flat on the sides and flat on the bottom, you know, based on every other small block oil pan I've ever looked at. So that should be interesting. But surprisingly, you know, the exhaust is rotted out, but the frame has some scale on it, but it's not rotted through. And the floors look pretty good from what we can see on a creeper anyhow. All right, I think we're just gonna drag this thing over the hoist and get it up in the air, because I refuse to work on my back after having a hoist. Right, Duff? You want to put it on the hoist? No, you like it on the floor so that you can put your nose right up to my face. Okay, I'll give you some pets. We got work to do though. All right, we got the old 56 on the lift here so that we can check out the bottom side and get easier access to the starter and drain whatever is in the oil pan. But as I was pushing around the corner, yeah, that's right, the tow truck sometimes isn't as handy as the old skid steer. So I was pushing around the corner here. I noticed something in the back window. You're gonna like this, or you're gonna hate it. Either way, I like it. So you can faintly see this. Can you read that sticker right there? Well, there was a sticker that says, "This car stops for blondes, brunettes, and will back up 25 feet for a redhead." How neat is that? So apparently this guy's brother, or him, or maybe it was his dad, I don't know, was into redheads. It's pretty cool. It even kind of shows a little car over there in the corner. It looks like a big old fastback Buick or Cadillac. Looks too big to be a Fleetline. How come Ford never made the fastbacks in the mid to late 40s? Seemed like it was only a GM deal. Oh, Mopar had them too. I had one of those. Oh yeah, there's this rear speaker deck. Speaker. What do you think, Duff? You into redheads? All right, let's get this thing up in the air and see what the bottom side looks like. Well, let's start at the back and move our way forward here. Fuel tank ain't rotted through. We got some spare parts poking through the spare tire hole. Looks like she had mud flaps. Nice heavy rubber ones. Kind of just held on by hopes and dreams though. Looks like she had some red diamonds on the bottom there. This side only has the remnants of it left. Stock 55 to 64 rear end, pinion seal ain't leaking. When I did roll it around over here, it does have a open differential and the brakes in the rear end are not dragging. So I'm guessing, oh, look at this. Somebody's tried getting this engine loose before. You can see where they've put a pipe wrench on the drive shaft. I'm guessing this engine is stuck. Well, you know what that means. We just got to get it unstuck now. Huh, I wonder if they got it turning or if they just gave up, or if the clutch was slipping, because usually that's what happens when I try doing this, the clutch slips. Also, everybody's like, just drag it around and drop the clutch and then that'll get it loose. It doesn't work very well with the ice and snow that we got covering the ground out here, so not gonna work. Plus, Duff isn't real good at driving the tow vehicle or pushing the clutch even without bumps, so it doesn't work for us. All right, moving forward. See, like I said, the body, the floors are super good in this car. That isn't even rust. That's like a hole, something poked in the body support there. The frame's got some scale on it, but I wouldn't even call it scale. It's just surface rust. It's all solid. Muffler shot. I can't believe how good the floors are on this thing. I don't think there's any rust in the floors. This is like that maybe turned into rust from getting a hole poked into it, but other than that, this thing is good. No rust on the rockers. I mean, it's all blasted with rocks. A little crease right there, but no rust through. Huh. Even the lower fenders, like maybe it's starting to rust there, maybe, but it's super solid. All right, let's pull some drain plugs. Try to get the transmission into neutral or drop the drive shaft. So even if we don't get it running, it'll at least roll. But I swear it was rolling this past summer. Oh, somebody's got that's the linkage for the override on the overdrive. They got it wired ahead. So I don't know if that's wired ahead so that, yeah, I'm guessing you pull that cable, it pulls this ahead. So they've got the overdrive bypassed. Of course they do. Yeah, the other thing about, I think I got a 55 engine out there. That doesn't even have a spot for the oil filter. This has a spot for the oil filter. And then this has the road draft tube that comes around the back of the engine. The 55 engine, I think the road draft tube comes straight through the block. That was that one that we were trying to steal the oil pan off of for another project that you're gonna find out about one of these days. All right, let's drain some fluids and mess around with the transmission and see what we can find. How much water is gonna be in this thing? Oh. Somebody's been messing with it, trying to get it loose. They might have already drained this. That might be why the oil filter is MIA. Yep. Somebody's been in there and drained all the water out already, which is fine. Let's check the transmission. See how bad that is. They couldn't possibly have drained the transmission as well, could they have? Okay, that's gonna round off. Super. Let's put the old locking pliers on it before we round it off. Oh. Cheese and rice. There we go. I'm guessing this hasn't been out in a while. Oh yeah, we're gonna get some water here. Guarantee it. There it is. Oh, not a ton. And no oil. That's interesting. Just to ensure there's no oil in there. Yep. Just water. Your worthless information of the day, there's a drain plug up here and a drain plug back here. One for the overdrive unit and one for the regular transmission. Same deal with fill plugs, so you always want to check them both if you're servicing your, what are these, R10? Yeah, R10. She's an R10. You can tell it's an R10 because of the way that it is and that it says R10 on it.
This is an aspen. You can tell that it's an aspen tree because of the way it is.
Unfortunately, there's no drain plug on the diff, only a fill, so you got to drop the center section out or pull a couple bolts out at least to get fluid out of that. We'll worry about that when we get there. I'm gonna put this drain plug back in and then we're gonna pull this inspection cover off and see if we can't get this thing barred over. Oh, mouse house, of course, because why wouldn't there be? These rats could swim. Ew. Okay, let's put the El Jefe on the flywheel here. I can tell it's a flywheel because the way that it is, because it's got a clutch. Flex plates are automatic transmissions. Let's see what happens. Please don't knock my teeth out. I can tell by the way that the mouse house was, they probably weren't having much luck getting this thing turned over. Oh. Let's pull that oil pan off. If that bottom end looks anything like that 365 Cadillac, or that 56 Caddy. Yeah, moment of truth. Oh my sludge. We're pretty much gonna stop there because if the main journals and the rod journals are all completely smoked, there's really no point in even getting it loose because at that point you're in a full rebuild and there's no point in getting it running at that point because all we're gonna do is just tear up that crank. We don't wanna wreck that crank. I mean, I don't really care, but I just don't wanna go through all the work for nothing. So let's pop that oil pan off. Should be pretty easy. Looks like there's plenty of room here. Knock on wood. I'll let you know in a minute how that goes. Let's see what we got behind door number 56. Okay, we're gonna have to drop the steering linkage, but I can already tell you it's not looking good. But you already knew this. All right, we got to get this thing off of here. What is the best way? We drop this guy. Will that give us enough clearance? As you can see, this steering shaft right here is keeping us from dropping that oil pan out. So I think we're going to take the drag link off over here, and hopefully that'll give us enough clearance that should drop everything down a good amount. Otherwise, we might have to pull the pitman arm off the bottom of the steering shaft too, but idler arm, that's what this is. Idler arm. We're gonna drop the idler arm. See what happens. Just a couple of 3/8 fine thread bolts. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Oh yeah, look at all that clearance.
2-4.
We have clearance, Clarence.
Roger, roger. What's our vector, Victor?
Look what else we got going on here. Where's a good spot to dump this? Hoofda. Wow. That is a lot of rust. Ew. So that's 3 pretty big handfuls up front. And then the rear sump, it's not any better. Ooh, that's a good one. That is a good one. You don't want to see a bunch of Hoover schneef in your oil pan. Oh, probably don't want to breathe that in either. Yeah. See how that oil pan's bulged out on the sides and on the bottom? That's what happens when water gets real hard below 0 degrees Celsius or 32 degrees Fahrenheit. Makes a lot of pressure wants to expand and such. I've never seen that. Now you know. So if you really want to ruin somebody's day, go ahead and fill their crankcase full of H2O and let her sit outside overnight when it's super, 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 super cold. Let's take a look at this bottom end, and I'm sure it's gonna be fine. We're just gonna spray some Croil on it, put it all back together. It's gonna be super. Well, the good news is the oil pump pickup tube has not rotted off. The bad news is the rod journals and the crank journals and the rod caps are awful furry. And not that kind of furry. The rusty furry. I guess we could have pulled the dipstick, Jimmy, and checked that earlier, but that would have been way too much thinking on our behalf. All right, let's pop a rod cap off for S's and G's and a main cap and see just how they look. Maybe they don't look that bad, but I'm betting they're mint. I'm sure they're fine. Everything's gonna be fine.
This is fine. I'm okay with the events that are unfolding currently.
Ooh. Yeah, that's not good. That's where the oil passageway was, that big black spot. So that's not terrible. But there's a lot of rust on that bearing. All right, let's take a look at the rest of them. That'd be the highlight of my day if this just snapped right off. Let's put some Croil on her. A little squirrel piss can't hurt. Uh-oh, running low on Croil. Come on now. Let's try rod cap number 2. So there is what our rod bearings look like. Yeah, there's a lot of rust in there. And it does not wipe off. So we're not gonna even mess with this thing, because if we were to continue on and get it loose, all that rust is gonna either wipe out the bearings, most likely, and then it's also gonna scar up the crankshaft, and you're gonna have to, I mean, the crank's already gonna have to be turned anyway, but instead of having to turn it 10, you're gonna have to turn it 20, 30, 40 thou, because we're just gonna tear everything apart. And I'd really hate to do that. I don't want to do any more damage to this engine than there already is. I mean, it's pretty much already a lost cause, and nobody's doing anything with these 265s other than, I would assume, the factory original guys. And you guys know I'm not a factory original guy, so I'm not gonna go through the effort of overhauling this thing. But you know, if somebody's looking for a 265, this would be probably a salvageable core, but you're gonna have to bore it out, you're gonna have to turn the crank, all that good stuff. But needs a complete going through. So I'm gonna put this back on there, and I'm gonna put this back on there, and I'm gonna have a sandwich and maybe think about my life decisions. And we're gonna meet up in a minute and go from there. In case you were wondering, there is what the main journal and the rod journal look like on the crankshaft. That is not good. Inside the block, oh man, look at the camshaft up there. The camshaft is toast. The bottoms of the cylinder walls got full of water or humidity at a minimum. The pistons even are all corroded up. Just not good for business up there or down here, however you want to look at it. Yikes. I'm sure the inside of the transmission and probably the rear end look like that as well. Speaking of that, before we put this thing on the ground, we should pull that drive shaft out so this thing rolls a lot better. Yeah, that'll make me feel good about this whole scenario at least. Let's see if we can unhook these shift linkages, and maybe we can get that transmission to freewheel on us. Worth a shot, right? Then we don't have a drive shaft rolling around in the back seat. Oh boy. These cotter keys are straight up rusted off. All right, you don't want to see me angry.
Mr. McGee, don't make me angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
Hammer time. For cheese and rice. What's your problem? Can't be stuck if it's liquid. All right. Oh, these shift linkages are sticky, icky. Son of a biscuit. All right. Dropping the drive shaft it is. We're having no luck getting these shift linkages to move. I swear that thing rolled this summer. Who knows? We give her a whirl. Well, the hits just keep on a-coming. We can't get the drive shaft to slide forward in the yoke up here to get the drive shaft out, but also I don't think the yoke's turning on the rear end, so I think the rear end's locked up. So what the heck? Let's dig into that as well. See what's going on in there. I can't imagine it has anything to do with water and rust and steel and everybody not getting along real friendly like. That should slide out. It's a slip yoke. Should slip right out. None of the above. All right, hammer time. Not sure I've ever had to hammer a slip yoke out. First time for everything. All right, now we mean business. Tech tip of the day, don't park your car in a lake. So this is our next problem. This should turn. So in order to get that center section out, we got to pull the axles out. All right, should be easy enough, right? I'm sure the axles aren't stuck in the axle tubes. Yeah, they are. They definitely are. Of course, the brake drums are seized. Oh, are they? No, it doesn't look like they are. Some of them got a bolt that holds them to the axle. That's not a bolt or a screw, whatever. So we're gonna use the Astro 78830 brake drum puller. Couldn't set me onto this thing. These things are way good. Clamps on either side of the drum. I don't know what other these pieces are for, but Just ramrod this guy through, put your jam nut in there. A bada bing, a bada boom. Pulls the brake drum off. Works pretty good. Sometimes they do hang up on the axle hub, so it will kind of bend to the center, but let's be honest, they're toast anyway. It's unfortunate because, yeah, usually they're hung up on the brakes. The brakes aren't hung up. It's definitely in the center section. Let's get this off there and see what happens. Sometimes you can get away with just heating in the center, but this thing is like welded on there. So we'll give the old puller a try. Get the old Swedish nut lathe up against the jam nut. We're gonna put our 1/2 inch impact on the side that you cannot see. Let's see what happens once we turn it the right way. Yeah, you can see it pulling out right here, but she's staying stuck in the middle. You always want to pull out. Oh, pop goes the weasel. There she blows. So close. We may have had to sacrifice a park brake cable and a slack adjuster, but I think we're ready to pull out these bolts and see if we can't get a axle to slide out. I'm sure that's going to just want to pop right out because everything else has been going so smoothly. Okay, we got all 4 bolts holding the axle and bearing retainer and backing plate, all that in. Look at this. Square nuts holding the U-bolts. They're like this on both sides of the car. So clearly somebody's swapped an axle or done something down here before. Oh yeah, if this thing could talk. Red heads and rear ends. Okay, no way that thing's coming out. Not a snowball's chance in hell, so we're gonna get the slide hammer. Do a little jerking.
Ain't you them kids that have been whacking off in my tool shed?
Yeah, I've been practicing years for this. Our jerking device for her pleasure today is the 9-way slide hammer puller set, part number 4579 by OTC, the Owatonna Tool Company. Oh, it's made in Taiwan. So we're going to use this handy dandy adapter here, and we're going to put that on there, put a couple lug nuts on there, hook our slide hammer up to there, and bada bing, bada boom. It's going to pop right out, hopefully. If not, I don't know what we're going to do. We're just going to have a diff that doesn't turn. Nothing. Oh yeah. Oh no. Oh yeah. Oh no. Yeah. Take that. Ah. Oh my gosh. Look at all those poo flakes in there. Yep, definitely gonna get pink eye from this one.
You get it from poo particles making their way into your ocular cavities.
All right, now we just gotta do the same thing on the other side. You don't even have to pull this all the way out. You know, pulling all the way out's a good thing to do usually, but in this case, we don't need to. We just gotta get the other side out, just far enough to clear the center section. Oh, that's a lot of crud. Did you just call the poo crud?
He called the poo.
If somebody wants to be our torch hose sponsor, that'd be great. We happen to smoke a hole in this thing by dropping that brake drum on it. Real excited about that. Hopefully they make repair ends, because I'm guessing it's going to be real expensive to buy a whole new torch hose. Oh, look at this. I can already see the water dripping out. Awesome. Not really. I don't know much about much, but I feel like water shouldn't be running out of your diff like that. Oh yeah, we got ourselves another water line. Ew. Oh my. Oh. That's a lot of sludge. Old DD Speed Shop, don't worry, he would just slam this thing right into a car. Just run it. I'm not an expert, but that may be the reason it wasn't turning. I thought maybe the water was hard and frozen in here, even though it's been in the shop for a couple days, but yeah, I'm guessing those bearings are seized up, and probably the bearings in the pinion. But I swear, Chin can put the footage in. This thing rolled out of that building. Or we pulled it with a lawnmower or something. But yeah, it was definitely not sliding. All right, we're just gonna leave the center chunk out here, slide the axles back in, put it all together. Call her good. At least it'll roll on the trailer for the next guy. Next guy, that's you. You wanna own this thing, I know you do. Or gal, we don't discriminate. Well, unfortunately, boys and girls, that's where we're gonna wrap it up. We gave her the old college try. This 56 just sat in water and wasn't taken care of for way too long. It was disclosed by the previous seller that it had sat in water. I thought, it's fresh water, you know, who knows how long ago it was. We would give it a whirl. Plus, it was a really, really nice car. Still is a really nice car. It rolls, it steers. This would make a great project for somebody. I mean, and if nobody buys it, we will maybe, I got a 265 laying around, I got another 283 laying around, we got some 350s, maybe put an LS in it, automatic, all that good stuff, but we just got too many projects in the shop. And we're trying to pick away at those, but we're trying to sneak a Willet run in here every once in a while. So if you think you need this thing, this car is good. Underneath, it's sat in water, yeah, it's gonna need some interior. The headliner's moused out. The drivetrain needs to be swapped out. Of course, it's gonna need brakes, all that good stuff. But the body, the floors are solid. There's that one dent in the driver's door that I think would probably come up pretty easy. It's basically surface rust. All the glass is in it. If you need this car, hit us up, mortskerepair@gmail.com. Price and availability is listed in the video description down below. If you want to see what cars we got for sale, go check out Mortske Repair on Facebook. We're working on a website as well. Check out the merchandise, link down below. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, all that good stuff. Somebody needs to own this car. We just got too many projects around here, and this one isn't for us. Like I said, I'm not a big 56 guy. It's got too many doors for me. You know, if you want to do the DD Speed Shop thing, convert this to two-door, by all means, I'd love to see it. Come get this thing out of our hair. So we're gonna kick this back outside and work on something else for next week. We gave her the old college try. It just wasn't in the books. The way the camshaft looked, the way the cylinder walls looked, the way the main bearings, rod bearings, all that stuff looked, this thing was crispy. I'm sure the transmission was the same. You guys saw the differential. Just the odds were stacked against us. Could we get this all working? Absolutely. Could we do it in a week? Maybe, but it'd be a long, rough week, and I am not in love with the car enough to do that. So thank you very much for watching. Check out the other videos. Leave a comment down below saying what you would do with this car if you were to own it. Would you restore it back to original? Would you slam it on the ground with an LS? Would you two-door convert it? Would you leave the paint? Would you paint it? Would you put vintage air? Would you put disc brakes? 18 and 20-inch wheels? You leave it stock? What are you going to do with this car if you were to own it? Most of all, remember, it doesn't matter how you get it done so long as you are having fun. Tri-5s are kind of fun. Well, they haven't been stored at the bottom of the lake. Now we just sit here and twiddle our thumbs until the air compressor shuts off. Gotta love filming for the YouTube.